Hi, I'm Silas. 5 years ago, I stood at the altar in my best suit, waiting for the woman I loved to walk down the aisle. She never showed up. Instead, I got a text message. I can't do this. I'm sorry. Don't look for me. My best man, Marcus, found me in the church parking lot an hour later. Silas, man, what happened? He asked, putting his hand on my shoulder. She's gone, Marcus. Victoria's gone. She just left, I said, staring at my phone. What? Did she say why? No explanation. Just that she can't marry me, I replied, my voice breaking. Marcus shook his head. This doesn't make sense. She was excited about the wedding. I saw her yesterday at the rehearsal dinner. I know. She told me she couldn't wait to be my wife, I said. The next few weeks were hell. I tried calling Victoria, but her number was disconnected. I went to her apartment, but the landlord said she'd broken her lease. I even contacted her mother, Helen Whitmore. Mrs. Whitmore, please, I just need to know Victoria's okay, I pleaded over the phone. My daughter made her choice, Silas. She realized you weren't right for her, Helen said coldly. But why? What did I do wrong? You wanted her money. Victoria finally saw through you, she replied. Money? I never cared about her inheritance. I loved her, I shouted. Save it. Don't contact this family again, Helen said, and hung up. I was devastated. Victoria came from wealth. Her grandfather had left her a substantial trust fund. But I'd never cared about that. I was a firefighter trainee, proud of my work, and I loved Victoria for who she was. My sister Rachel visited me that week. Silas, you look terrible. You need to eat something, she said, bringing groceries to my apartment. I can't, Rachel. I keep thinking about what I did wrong, I replied. You didn't do anything wrong. Victoria made a choice, and it was wrong, but you can't blame yourself, Rachel said firmly. Her mother thinks I'm a gold digger. Helen Whitmore is a controlling witch. She never liked you because you weren't from her social circle, Rachel said. Victoria was probably too weak to stand up to her. Maybe I wasn't good enough, I said quietly. Stop it. You're a good man. You deserve better than someone who abandons you without explanation, Rachel insisted. She was right. I couldn't keep torturing myself. I threw myself into work, eventually becoming a paramedic. Saving lives gave me purpose when I felt my own life had fallen apart. 5 years later, I was working a regular shift when the call came in. Silas, we've got a car accident on Highway 47. Single vehicle, driver trapped, dispatch said through my radio. My partner, Marcus, yes, the same Marcus who'd been my best man, drove the ambulance while I prepared equipment. Sounds bad, Marcus said. Let's hope they're stable, I replied. We arrived at the scene. A sedan had crashed into a barrier. Firefighters were working to extract the driver. When they pulled her out, I froze. It was Victoria. Silas, focus! We need to stabilize her, Marcus shouted, snapping me back to reality. I pushed aside my shock and went to work. Victoria had a head injury and was barely conscious. We got her loaded into the ambulance. As I worked on her vitals, her eyes fluttered open and focused on me. Silas, she whispered, her voice weak. Don't talk. You're going to be okay, I said, keeping my voice professional. I'm so sorry, she mumbled, before losing consciousness again. At the hospital, I gave my report to the ER doctor, then stepped outside. Marcus followed me. That was her, wasn't it? Victoria? Marcus asked. Yeah, I said, leaning against the wall. You okay, man? I don't know. Seeing her after all this time? I trailed off. What are you going to do? Marcus asked. Nothing. I did my job. That's it, I replied. But I couldn't stop thinking about her words. I'm so sorry. Sorry for what? Running away? Breaking my heart? 2 days later, I received a call from an unknown number. Is this Silas Parker? A woman's voice asked. Yes, who's this? My name is Victoria Whitmore. I'm calling from the hospital. I need to speak with you. It's urgent, she said. Victoria, I don't think... Please, Silas. There's something you need to know about why I left. About my mother, Victoria interrupted, her voice desperate. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet her. At the hospital, Victoria looked fragile in her bed, bandages wrapped around her head. Thank you for saving my life, she said quietly. It's my job, I replied, keeping my distance. I need to tell you the truth about why I ran, Victoria said. I'm listening. My mother, Helen. She lied to me. The day before our wedding, she showed me documents. Bank statements, emails, text messages. They showed you were planning to drain my trust fund after we got married, Victoria explained. What? That's insane. I started. I know that now. The documents were fake, but I believed her. I was so scared, Silas. I thought you were using me, Victoria said, tears streaming down her face. Why would she do that? I asked, though anger was building inside me. Control. She's always controlled every aspect of my life. When I met you, someone she didn't choose, she couldn't stand it, Victoria said. So she destroyed our relationship with lies, I said bitterly. Yes, and after I left, she convinced me to sign power of attorney over to her. She said I was too emotionally unstable to manage my own affairs. Silas, she's been stealing from my trust fund for 5 years, Victoria revealed. My hands clenched into fists. Do you have proof? I started getting suspicious 6 months ago when I wanted to buy a house, and she kept making excuses about why I couldn't access my money. I hired a private investigator. He found everything. The forged documents she used to make me leave you. The unauthorized transfers from my accounts. All of it, Victoria said. Where is this evidence? I asked. In my apartment. The investigator's report, bank records, everything, she said. Marcus, who had been waiting outside, knocked and entered. Sorry to interrupt, but Silas, we've got another call, Marcus said. I looked at Victoria. I need to go. Will you help me? Will you help me make her pay for what she did to us? Victoria asked. I paused at the door. I'll think about it. I couldn't let it go. Helen Whitmore had destroyed my life with lies, and now I learned she'd been committing fraud for years. I called Marcus. I need your help, I said. What's going on? Marcus asked. I explained everything Victoria had told me. Holy hell, that's serious fraud. You need to get a lawyer involved, Marcus said. I know, but first, I need to see that evidence, I replied. Victoria gave me her apartment key. Inside, I found a folder labeled Private Investigation, Helen Whitmore. It was damning. Forged bank statements showing I had gambling debts, fake emails I'd supposedly sent to a mysterious accomplice planning to scam Victoria, and most importantly, records of Helen transferring over $800,000 from Victoria's trust fund into her own accounts. I called a lawyer I'd met through work, Jennifer Chen. Jennifer, I need your expertise on a fraud case, I said when she answered. Tell me what you've got, Silas, she replied. I laid out the whole story. Jennifer was silent for a moment. This is big, Silas. We're talking about forgery, fraud, theft, and financial abuse. I'll need to see all the evidence, Jennifer said. I have everything. Can we take her down? I asked. Oh, we can do better than that. We can send her to prison, Jennifer said confidently. 2 days later, Jennifer, Marcus, Victoria, and I met at Jennifer's office. Okay, here's the plan. We're going to confront Helen with this evidence and give her one chance to confess. We'll record everything. Then we hand it all over to the police and the district attorney, Jennifer explained. Why give her a chance? I asked. Because if she confesses on recording, it strengthens the case. Plus, I want to see her face when she realizes she's caught, Jennifer said with a slight smile. We set up the meeting at Victoria's apartment. Helen arrived, impeccably dressed as always. Victoria, darling, why all the dramatics? And why is he here? Helen asked, glaring at me. Sit down, Mother. We need to talk, Victoria said firmly. I don't appreciate your tone, young lady, Helen replied. And I don't appreciate being lied to for 5 years, Victoria shot back. Jennifer stepped forward. Mrs. Whitmore, I'm Jennifer Chen, attorney at law. We have evidence that you forged documents to sabotage your daughter's wedding and that you've been systematically stealing from her trust fund. Helen's face went pale, but she recovered quickly. That's absurd. I would never. We have the forged bank statements. We have the fake emails. We have records of every unauthorized transfer you made, Jennifer interrupted, laying documents on the table. You can't prove those are fake. Silas was clearly after Victoria's money, Helen said, her voice rising. Actually, I had the documents analyzed by a forensic accountant. The metadata shows you created them on your computer 2 days before the wedding. We also have your digital fingerprints all over the transfers, Jennifer said calmly. Helen stood up abruptly. This is harassment. I'm leaving. Sit down, Mrs. Whitmore, or I'll have the police escort you down, Jennifer said. At that moment, 2 detectives entered the apartment. I'd asked Jennifer to have them standing by. Helen Whitmore? One detective asked. Yes, Helen replied nervously. We have a warrant for your arrest on charges of fraud, forgery, and grand theft. You have the right to remain silent, the detective began. This is a mistake. Victoria, tell them. Tell them I was protecting you, Helen shouted as they handcuffed her. You weren't protecting me, Mother. You were controlling me and stealing from me. I'm pressing charges, Victoria said coldly. As they led Helen away, she screamed, I'm your mother! How can you do this to me? How could you do it to me? Victoria replied quietly. The trial took 8 months, but it was worth the wait. Jennifer built an airtight case. The forensic evidence was undeniable. I sat in the courtroom when the verdict was read. We find the defendant, Helen Whitmore, guilty on all counts, the jury foreman announced. Jennifer leaned over and whispered to me, We got her. What's the sentencing looking like? I asked quietly. Judge Patterson doesn't mess around with financial crimes. I'm expecting 7 to 10 years, she replied. The judge cleared his throat. Mrs. Whitmore, please rise. Helen stood, her expensive suit unable to hide how much she'd aged during the trial. You exploited your position as a mother to manipulate and defraud your own daughter. You forged documents, committed fraud, and stole nearly $1 million. This court sentences you to 7 years in federal prison and orders full restitution of $1.2 million, including penalties and interest, Judge Patterson declared. Helen's lawyer immediately spoke up. Your Honor, my client requests to remain free pending appeal. Request denied. Bailiff, remand the defendant into custody immediately, the judge said firmly. As they led Helen away in handcuffs, she looked directly at me with pure hatred. After the sentencing, Victoria approached me outside the courthouse. Rachel and Marcus stood a few feet away, giving us space but staying close. Silas, thank you. I couldn't have done this without you, Victoria said. You deserve justice, I replied simply. I know I hurt you terribly. I was weak and I let her manipulate me. I'm so sorry, she said, her voice breaking. I appreciate the apology, I said. Do you think, is there any chance we could start over? Maybe try again? Victoria asked hopefully. I shook my head. No, Victoria. Her face fell. Please, just hear me out. I know I made terrible mistakes, but... But nothing, I interrupted. What your mother did was criminal. What you did was walk away from us without giving me a chance to defend myself. I was manipulated. She showed me convincing evidence, Victoria protested. You were an adult who chose to believe I was a con artist without even asking me about it, I said firmly. That's not fair, Silas. You don't understand what it was like growing up with her controlling everything, she argued. Maybe not, but I do understand what it was like being abandoned without explanation. I understand what it was like being called a gold digger when I worked 2 jobs to afford your engagement ring, I replied. Victoria reached for my hand. I love you. I never stopped loving you. I pulled my hand back. That's not enough. What do you mean it's not enough? We were going to get married, she said desperately. We were. Past tense. But you destroyed that when you chose her lies over our relationship, I said. I made a mistake. People make mistakes, Silas, Victoria said, raising her voice. Some mistakes can't be fixed. This is one of them, I replied calmly. Rachel stepped forward. Victoria, you need to accept his answer and move on. Stay out of this, Rachel. This is between me and Silas, Victoria snapped. No, she's right, I said. This conversation is over. I helped you get justice because it was the right thing to do, not because I wanted you back. So that's it? After everything we meant to each other? Victoria asked, tears streaming down her face. After everything you threw away, yes, that's it, I confirmed. Marcus put his hand on my shoulder. Come on, man, let's go. As we walked to the parking lot, Victoria called after me. I'll always love you, Silas. I stopped and turned back one last time. Then I hope you learn to love yourself enough to become someone who doesn't run when things get hard. Goodbye, Victoria. In Marcus's car, he looked at me. You okay? Yeah, I really am, I replied. She wanted another chance? He asked. She did. I said no, I confirmed. Good. You deserve someone who won't bail when her mommy tells her to, Marcus said. Rachel, who was in the back seat, leaned forward. I'm proud of you, little brother. That took strength. Thanks, Rach. It needed to be done, I said. What are you going to do now? She asked. Move on. Keep saving lives. Maybe eventually find someone who actually trusts me, I replied. You will. The right person won't run, Marcus said confidently. He was right. Helping Victoria wasn't about winning her back or getting revenge on Helen. It was about making sure justice was served. Helen manipulated and stole from her own daughter, and she deserved to face consequences for that. I learned something important through all of this. Justice isn't the same as revenge. Revenge would have been destroying Helen's life out of spite. Justice was proving her crimes in court and letting the legal system handle it properly. And moving forward meant refusing to let Victoria back into my life just because she finally realized what she'd lost. I'd rebuilt myself into someone stronger, someone who knew his worth. The best revenge wasn't getting even. It was moving forward and refusing to let the past define me. Have you ever had someone manipulate you or betray your trust because they thought they could control you? What would you have done in my situation? Like and subscribe for more stories about people who refused to be victims and fought back the right way.